So I'm sure that by now you've probably caught wind of this new game that's coming out called Where Winds Meet. And if you're wondering what the game is all about and what kind of game it is, and maybe you've been hearing some conflicting reports as to what kind of game it is, this video will bring you up to speed. It's not a guide video by any means. It is an overview of the game, what you can expect out of the game. That's objective from my side. This video is not sponsored. The first thing I want to clear up right off the rip, this is not an MMORPG. The way I've been describing it is I've been calling it an online RPG, and some people have been calling it an MMO light, but it's not an MMORPG in the same way that you would call something like Black Desert. The way I've been describing it to people is I've been saying imagine kind of like Vindictus, except the hub city that you hang out at with other players is like a massive open world that you can interact with, and it's a pretty big part of the game as well. I will also be streaming this game when it comes out on the 14th at 5 p.m. Eastern, and I might have some codes to give away as well, so make sure to follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/LaufieLOL and tune in. So now that that's out of the way, let's get into the first pillar that I use for these types of videos, which is classes and combat. Now, the game doesn't actually have a typical class system. It is more so that the classes are made of a combination of two weapons called martial arts. There are 7 weapon types in total, but each weapon type can have a different kind of role that it plays. One of the weapons, so for example, even though there is a fan weapon, one of the weapon choices, there is a ranged DPS fan, and then there's also a healing fan, and they're 2 completely different weapons that have different skills tied to them. You can mix and match them, and you can equip 2 at the same time, and in combat you will be switching between them. So there is a trinity system in the game, so there are tanks, healers, and DPS. You can go a full healer build, or you can go a hybrid build if you want. You can mix and match any weapon with any weapon. Obviously, there's going to be more meta weapon combinations. You're not locked into your choices. You can mix and match, and you can test things out early. My advice is to test things out as early as possible, because much like Blue Protocol, for example, once you get up there in levels and once you progress your character a lot further, around like level 30, level 40, that's when upgrading your weapon slots is going to start becoming a little bit more expensive. So test these things out as early as possible before you kind of make your decision. But even if you make your decision early and then want to reroll later, there is a way to reset your progress. It refunds a percentage of your progress back, but nothing really is going to break your account if you decide to switch your role or switch your dedication to a certain weapon. Aside from the skills that are tied to the weapon itself, you also have these things called mystical arts, which are additional skills that you can unlock through various means in the game. There's a million different ways to unlock them depending on which one you're looking for, and the game will tell you how to do that. The combat itself, to me personally, doesn't feel floaty. It feels pretty impactful. A lot of people tend to compare this to a Souls-like. I wouldn't say so personally. It does have a typical parry, block, dodge mechanic that has a stamina bar, and the enemy, like the bosses that you fight, also has a stamina bar that can be broken, things like that. But aside from that, you do have skills that you use in combat, and you switch weapons in combat, so it is a lot faster. And if I had to compare it to a Soulsborne, if I absolutely had to, I would compare it more to Sekiro, because your parrying matters a lot more. But I wouldn't call this Souls-like. I would compare it more to something like a Black Myth Wukong type combat. When you start up the game for the first time, you can pick your difficulty, because by default you are going to be alone in the world. There is an online co-op mode as well, where you'll be able to see other players running around and kind of interacting with bosses and stuff like that, but the world itself and your interactions with the actual bosses will depend on the difficulty that you pick. The easiest difficulty will slow down time when there's an opportunity for parrying. It is quite literally very much so a story mode where you won't worry much about the difficulty, and the higher difficulties are obviously a lot harder. So now let's move on to the customization. The customization in Where Winds Meet is genuinely one of the most in-depth that I've ever encountered. You can play a male or female character and customize their face with incredible detail. You can upload a picture of yourself or of your character from another game, and the game will attempt to make your character look like the person in the screenshot. Due to this being a wuxia game, hair color is limited during character creation, pretty much to default black, but every outfit features a different hairstyle as a cosmetic slot in the game, so whatever hair you pick on your character, don't expect to spend much time rocking that hairstyle, as it will change when you unlock different cosmetics, paid or free. Don't worry though, despite the game having a heavily wuxia style, you are able to customize your character's eye color and skin color to your heart's content, so it's only the hair color that the devs were adamant about keeping fairly homogeneous. Of course, there's a player-driven lookbook, just like in Black Desert, so you can try out presets from other people, and it does let you make a couple of adjustments as well if you want to tweak it before locking it in. Don't worry though, pretty early in the game, you are given an item for free that lets you change the appearance of your character, so if you end up not liking something on your character, you will be able to change it later on, pretty early in the game, to be honest, once for free with this item, and more times in the future if you want to, but that will be a paid item from the shop, obviously. Monetization. The vast majority of the game's monetization is cosmetic, with 2 freemium features. The game is free to play, so of course it's going to have those. The first one is the standard freemium subscription for 30 days that gives you currency every time you log in, every day you log in. By now, every free-to-play game on the planet seems to come out with one of these freemiums. The other one is the Battle Pass with a free and premium version. After asking around a few Western players that played on China, the Battle Pass gives pretty light rewards like cosmetics, not just the featured skin, but a few other cosmetics like different hairstyles, makeup, things like that, some currency for in-game vendors, consumables, some materials for upgrading your gear early, which is pretty easily obtainable from exploration, so nothing super major. Personally, I'd say the biggest value of the premium Battle Pass is the limited FOMO skin that's featured at the end once you fulfill a certain level. To my knowledge, they don't run those skins back, so if you're not a fan of the skin, you won't be missing too much by not unlocking the premium row of the Battle Pass. Aside from that, the rest of the monetization is through cosmetics. There are 2 gacha banners that feature either a limited skin or a mount. The skins don't have any stats on them. It's just a very fancy FOMO skin. But aside from that, the shop is full of skins that you can just buy outright for a flat price. A lot of them are on discount, and most of them are dyeable as well. Aside from skins, you can also buy a myriad of different mounts, hairstyles, makeup options, weapon skins, emotes, and skill animations. So for certain skills in the game, we'll have a skin that will change their visual effect. So for example, a slash skill on one of the swords might get a fiery or a lightning effect, or like a dragon visual with it. So it's nothing that changes the efficacy of the skill itself, it just changes the animation to look cooler. There are also various poses and props you can buy to decorate your character profile when somebody inspects you, icons, things like that. So pretty much aside from the freemium and the Battle Pass, it's all fancy, crazy looking cosmetics that don't actually affect gameplay at all, aside from making you look cool as hell. Leveling and exploration. When you make your character, you can choose the level of hand-holding that the game provides. If you want to progress efficiently, you might want to choose the one that shows the most amount of icons and tracks all the different things in the world. That way you won't miss too many things on your way, but if you prefer a more exploration-driven approach, you can try that out too. This can be changed in the settings later on at any point. Where Winds Meet will launch with 2 giant regions of open world that is brimming with things to sidetrack you from the main story quest, and the world has a day-night cycle as well as a weather change system. The world is seamless and the NPCs respond to you based on your notoriety in the world, and they also interact with the world itself. So merchant NPCs will travel from city to city, farmer NPCs will work in the fields during the day and go home at night, and if it starts raining in the game, NPCs will try to find cover somewhere to hide from the rain. As you level up, you will reach these threshold points that will require a breakthrough to continue on to the next batch of levels, roughly every 10 levels or so. This breakthrough is just a simple instance where you have to kill a couple of waves of mobs with a mini-boss at the end. Nothing too challenging. If you zone out and don't realize you've gotten bottlenecked at level 20 and end up doing breakthrough quests later, don't worry, the XP that you haven't earned yet gets stored and then is awarded to you after you complete the breakthrough. You do want to prioritize the breakthrough as soon as possible though, because the rewards you get from quests, from bosses, from exploration, from chests, things like that, they all scale based on your level. So you might not miss out on the XP, but the rewards you get from the chests you find in the world will be given to you based on your breakthrough level. It's not a huge deal, it won't break your character at all or your progression, not even close. It's just something to keep in mind if you want to be as efficient as possible. A good way to think about these breakthroughs is that it's not just your character leveling up to the next tier, it's you're leveling up the entire world. The enemies, the bosses, the loot, all of it. So this is the progression of your entire story, so to speak, not just your character level, if that makes sense. As mentioned earlier, the world is full of things to explore that are just waiting to sidetrack you, and personally, I found that letting the world sidetrack you was a huge part of the charm for me. There are a lot of things you'd expect from an exploration game, like hidden open world dungeons and catacombs to explore, skills to learn by observing people or animals fight, chests to open, puzzles to solve, and so on. There are also a ton of small things that you wouldn't typically expect and that I haven't seen in other games before. I won't list all of them to preserve your sense of exploration, but to give you an example, there was an NPC I talked to who invited me to compete with him by getting drunk and then doing a mini game of who can get the most arrows into a bowl while we're both drunk. Or on another occasion, I saw a circle of 3 dogs next to a water bowl, and upon drinking from that bowl, my character was also turned into a dog, which allowed me to sit at an exclusive table with other dogs and subsequently be allowed to play mahjong with them. So if I knew how to play mahjong, I'd be playing mahjong with 3 other Shibas. The world of Where Winds Meet truly grows alongside your character. Not only do your dialogue options have real consequences in the world that you will see for yourself, but you can absolutely play as a morally gray or evil character. The game lets you pickpocket civilians, attack any NPC for any reason. If you want to, you can just run into a town and slaughter everyone, as long as you can, and then steal someone's horse to get away on. There are, of course, consequences for this too that are similar to GTA. If you kill several civilians, you will get pursued, and if your karma is low enough, you better pray you don't get caught, because you will have to serve a sentence in a jail, which, depending on the severity of your crimes, can stack up to several in-game hours. You can try breaking out. You can also bribe the guard if you have enough money, but even if you live an honest life, you are not immune to false accusations, so it's always good to have extra cash on hand for the bribes. In terms of actual level progression, you can just freely follow the main story quest and it will get you to where you need to go. In terms of the actual story, according to the live stream that happened a few days ago, the main story quest comprises about 20% of the overall story for Where Winds Meet. This means that the remaining 80% of the story is hidden behind exploration, side quests, NPC interactions, item descriptions, general faction stories, world building, and so on. If you're curious about what happens in the story but don't want to cannibalize your own gameplay by reading the dialogue, you're welcome to hang out in my stream at twitch.tv/LaufieLOL, because I will be following the game story and narrating everything that isn't voiced in the game so that my viewers can understand what happens in the story while skipping the story themselves and playing efficiently. It's a win-win for everybody. Gear and character progression. The first progression system you will see and interact with is the aforementioned leveling breakthrough system that we already talked about. Another thing to mention when it comes to breakthrough level is that you can upgrade your weapon types, but their upgrade level cannot be higher than your character level. So for example, once I do the breakthrough at level 20, it will allow my character to level up to 21, but it will also allow me to upgrade my weapon types to level 21 as well. This isn't you enhancing your specific weapon, but rather the weapon type that you're focused on. Think of it kind of like a weapon mastery type thing. At early levels, this is very cheap, allowing you to experiment with different weapon combinations, but once you start hitting thresholds around level 40, it gets pretty expensive, enough to where you should probably know what weapon types you want to main, so to speak. You can reset these levels and it does refund you materials if you change your mind later, but it's only a partial refund. It's nothing you can't catch up on with time, but it's just something to keep in mind as you play around with different weapon types. Since this video isn't an in-depth guide, I will quickly go over the kind of progressions you can expect in the game, but I won't go into too much detail. So your character has 3 different talent types to unlock: basic, arena, and boss. Arena talents are obtained by queuing arenas, which we will talk about later, and similarly the boss talents are unlocked by fighting PvE bosses repeatedly. The arena and boss talents are only applied in those respective modes, so you will not be able to use the arena talents in bosses and vice versa. But the basic talents are a lot more versatile and are applied everywhere. Basic talents are obtained through a point system, and those points are unlocked through just about anything in the game: killing mobs, leveling up, doing side quests, and nearly every other activity. So don't worry, as long as you play the game actively, you will be slowly progressing this tree. These basic talents give passives, but also unlock skills you will use for exploration, to unlock puzzles, things like that, as well as different combat skills as well. And it will also unlock more skills on your hotbar too. Your internal arts is also a kind of passive system where you can equip 4 of them from a choice of just about a metric fuck ton of them. These are unlocked through special books, and the menu will tell you how to obtain that book of the specific skill that you're looking for. It can be a number of things, like doing a side quest, exploring a puzzle dungeon, killing a boss, progressing a part of the main story, stuff like that. Your mystic arts are active skills on your hotbar that are not tied to your weapon. Some are used for exploration, some are used in combat, and some are used to solve puzzles. For example, if you watched the live live stream, there was a part where the player grabbed a bear and threw it against a cliff to break it and reveal a chest hidden behind the wall. That is just one example of the myriad of mystic art skills that you can unlock. But it's completely up to you which ones you want to have equipped. They're separate from the skills that you get attached to your weapon types. These skills also come from just about 100 different sources. Some are unlocked through your basic talent tree, others are given through side quests or main story quest, but most of them are rewarded through random interactions in the world where you explore. So this is another reason as to why sometimes letting the world sidetrack you from the main story quest can be quite beneficial. If you've played Blue Protocol Star Residence, the two systems I'm about to go over are very similar to enhancement and reforging. So basically you have several equipment slots, the 2 weapons and their 2 trinkets, the bow and the bow trinket, as well as helmet and chest and their 2 respective trinkets as well. Every single equipment slot can be enhanced, and you will not be enhancing the equipment itself, but the equipment slot. So for example, once I get my helmet to +1 and I replace that helmet with a better one later on, that new helmet will automatically inherit the +1 enhancement. Pretty simple. When it comes to progressing the actual gear pieces you have equipped, it's a little bit more convoluted at first, but I promise it's much simpler than it sounds in the beginning. The part of your gear you will be worried about has to do with set bonuses. There is a gear with offensive set bonuses that goes onto the 4 slots of your 2 weapons and their 2 trinkets. The defensive set bonus works the same way, but it's a completely different bonus. It's separate from the offensive one. It will have to do with your armor, chest, bracers, and boots. And then bow and its trinket do not have a set bonus, and that part of your equipment only has 2 gear pieces. When you look at the gear menu visually, it's a bit easier to see what I mean. They're separated. You have the 4 offensive gear pieces, the 4 defensive gear pieces, and the bow part of the gear. Gear itself has rarities ranging from green, blue, purple, and gold, much like the comparison with Star Residence. What you're worried about here are stats. You need specific materials to refine the gear pieces and unlock the stats that you need, some of which are guaranteed, some of which are RNG based on rarity, and there's certain items that increase the chance of you getting like a higher rarity of the stat roll. You will hunt for gear that has the set bonuses that you're looking for, as well as materials to unlock the stat lines that you're looking for, most of which will come from the PvE content in this game. So let's move on to the next section to talk about it, PvE and Endgame. There is a stamina system in the game. Your stamina goes up to 600 and it replenishes by 1 stamina point every 8 minutes. From what I've heard from other players, it can take about 3 days to fully replenish it, so there isn't that much FOMO to log in and do something every single day. I know stamina systems are something that people really dislike in games, me included, but in my experience, most games have some kind of time gating. And in this game, instead of saying that you can do each dungeon 5 times on a daily reset, for example, they instead do it through a stamina approach, just to give you a choice of what content you actually want to spend the stamina on. It's still time gating, just slightly more flexible one, I suppose. The good news is that there is no way to get more energy through money. This doesn't work the way it does in gacha games where you can convert shop currency to get more stamina. What you get is what you get. From what some CN players have told me, the only source of more stamina is from the battle pass, but it gives you a minuscule amount, nothing that will make a big difference according to them. But there's not really a way to convert currency into more stamina. Everyone pretty much has the same amount. The main content that you will be doing that has direct ties to progressing your character are 5-man dungeons or bosses, each of which cost 20 stamina to claim rewards. You can still do all of this content without using stamina if you want to help out your friends, for example, but the stamina is just tied to claiming rewards. The main rewards that you're concerned with in exchange for stamina are these shells that let you guarantee a certain stat line rarity on your gear, and these purple chests that will allow you to obtain gear for the specific set bonus that you're looking for. The good news is that these chests are always selectable, so if you're looking for a specific gear piece that's part of a specific set bonus, you won't have to deal with RNG. You'll just have to farm chests and choose the gear that belongs to that set you're looking for, and that's it, you're done with that. Early on, these 5-man dungeons are quite easy, but at higher levels, of course, they get harder. Without going into too much detail, as if I haven't already, that should give you an idea of the endgame loop. So you spend energy hunting for gear pieces to build the 2 set bonuses that you're looking for, farm for materials to upgrade gear slots, as well as refine the gear pieces themselves to obtain the stats that you're after, as well as getting materials for upgrading your skills. Aside from things that I mentioned above and time-limited events that the game will be happening at any given time, you will also have a daily or weekly activity menu to fill up and get rewards from. Don't think of them as dailies you have to go out of your way to get done, but rather activity bar that you will fill up naturally by just playing the game actively. So it's just things that like kill 5 mobs, do 1 dungeon, upgrade this, like level up 1, stuff like that. It's just like very simple things that you will, if you're playing the game for like a couple of hours, you'll probably get them done regardless. PvP. I have to be fully honest, in this section, this was the hardest part to research for me, as there isn't much information online on the Western side of things about the intricacies of PvP. What I can tell you for sure is that there are several types of PvP in the game. There's duels, instanced 1v1, 3v3, and 5v5. There's duels, instanced 1v1, 3v3, and 5v5 arenas, as well as guild versus guild 30 versus 30 battles, and battle royale modes. The conflicting information I got was which modes are equalized or normalized. In some videos, I've heard mentions that 1v1 arena is equalized, and stats work differently there, while others in my chat said that nothing is truly equalized. I'm making a personal assumption here, but I think this may be the case of gear being more balanced, but not fully equalized. But maybe this is where the miscommunication is coming from, especially considering that Mandarin is pretty difficult to Google Translate. I don't want to lie to you, so I'm just letting you know what I've seen, but I'm not 100% sure on this. All I can tell you is that there are a bunch of arena modes that have ranked and casual queues, and you can earn currency from PvP that you can use in in-game vendors to buy various materials. For non-PvP players, this section is a way to know that you aren't required to participate in PvP if it's not your cup of tea, and for my fellow PvP Andies, this will at least let you know that the game does have a bunch of different PvP modes you can have fun with. Sorry, I wasn't able to find more specific info. Crafting and gathering. Life scaling in Where Winds Meet isn't done through a standard gathering and crafting system that doesn't really exist in the game. There is a possibility to craft food and healing consumables, but nothing really beyond that. Instead, you set up a worker empire through the homestead system and choose your path through one of the sects in the game. Both of these features have several different uses, a lot of which have leisure and social aspects tied into them, so this section will inherently overlap with the horizontal for fun section, so I will be combining the two sections into one. So let's get into it. The home-based system is, at its core, a housing system that is insanely intricate. The possibilities are endless with how you build your base, but if you're not a fan of building aspect, but still want to utilize other aspects of the home-based system, you can just use the blueprint to build a pre-made house, no problem. You can set up different NPCs to work for you in the homestead, which will passively bring in currency you can use in-game for various rewards. The way to get NPCs to join your homestead is to talk to them directly. Quite literally talk to them through typing. There's an AI-based chat that you can open with NPCs and try to convince them to join your homestead. You can set these NPCs to work in different facilities in your homestead, like making you wine that you will sell in different cities, fishing, and so on. They will need a place to rest as well. I won't go into too much detail, but it's very similar to the Black Desert Workers Empire, except every interaction is very hands-on and more in-depth. And then there's factions or sects. The sects aren't really factions in terms of like PvP in a way. It's more so like your social identity. They have little to do with combat and are more so based around a certain belief or moral system in the game. Think of it like game's lore-based guild system, where when you join, you get access to our shop, dailies, and have to meet requirements of that faction. You're not required to join one if you don't want to, and when you do, you can always leave and join another one. So for example, the Midnight Guard sect requires that you kill 10 players every week to maintain your status in the sect, and the Midnight Guard sect requires that you cannot be killed yourself, and if you fail to meet this requirement or get killed too many times, your own faction members will hunt you down for being soy. Not all requirements are that steep and scary though, so for example the Silver Needle sect is oriented at healers, and the requirement to remain in the sect is to heal 10 players per week. But it isn't content-based healing like in dungeons, but rather sometimes people can get debuffs or ailments like sicknesses in-game, either by dying or fucking around and finding out too much. And you will need a healer player to cleanse you of that debuff, and it's very fast. If you're part of the sect, they will make sure to pay you for your efforts. I won't go over all of the sects to save your sense of discovery. There are a lot more of them with different requirements and different rewards, but of course some of these sects are oriented at being merchants and getting access to materials that can be used to craft consumables, so the life scaling is sort of done through that as well. Horizontal. I need to emphasize that this game has an absolute metric fuckton, an ocean's worth of fun and social features to partake in, most of which do give you rewards of some kind as well. So for the sake of not having this video last 2 hours, I won't be covering all of them, but I will talk about a few of them on a very surface level to give you an idea and not spoil all the fun. So first of all, yes, there are player guilds. player-made guilds in the game that largely work similarly to what you expect. However, when making a guild, the player will have to choose the orientation of the guild that will give certain bonuses for doing certain guild activities together. So your guild can be either combat, leisure, or exploration oriented. So for example, if you're a combat oriented guild, the guild will get bonuses for doing PvP and PvE content together with guildmates. But if you're an exploration guild, then the bonuses will be from exploring the world together in co-op. So regardless of the guild orientation that you chose, you will still be able to do all of that content together and be rewarded for it. The orientation just gives you a little bit of extra bonus rewards on top. The guild has guild activities and a massive guild hall with a shop and leisure activities to do, like a guild bathhouse or mini games. Guilds can also host in-guild events. Guilds can also host in-guild events, not just for PvP, but for card games. So if your guild wants to do a sumo wrestling competition, for example, you can absolutely do so in the guild hall as well. While spending time doing activities with your friends, you will form a bond with them, which will allow you to unlock a sort of passive bond tree with them, which when maxed out will allow you to marry them. Yes, the game has a marriage system. Don't worry, even if you don't know anyone, the game has a system where you can make a wish under a tree on a leaf, and other players will see it. You can leave a small message about yourself, and other players can get to know you and add you to do stuff together if you're looking to form bonds with others but don't have anyone to play with right away. So honestly, no more jokes about not having no friends. The game leaves you with no excuses. You can create a sworn brotherhood system. This is separate from what I just talked about, with a few other players, which means those are your kind of ride or die homies. This isn't a guild or a marriage. This is a special blood of the covenant type bond system where the players can join your world whenever they want. You'll get notified when they come online, and they can help you break out of jail if you ever get got. There is a master and disciple system in the game as well, very similar to the mentorship system in other games. One cool feature of the system is that you can summon an AI version of your master to help you fight bosses, so make sure you pick a geared daddy. You probably know this one already, but you can chat with NPCs, and I mean actually chat with them through an in-game chat window where you type to them and they respond based on their personality and probably your notoriety level as well. I haven't tried this one myself, but many players say it's quite fun to interact with. Alongside a million other things, you can eavesdrop on NPCs, steal horses from NPCs, GTA style. In Kaifeng, the major city, it has a local opera you can attend, a bathhouse you can relax in that I think gives you buffs. There are mahjong and card games that you can play with NPCs and players, and you can bet on cockfights or on sumo wrestling matches. So there's a million different for fun social features in this game. And now lastly, let's talk about the developers real quick. So the game is made by Everstone Studio and published in the global version for us by NetEase. However, Everstone Studio, they've made the game, they built the game, they developed it, and that's, as far as we know, the only game that they've worked on. However, Everstone Studio is a subsidiary of NetEase, so it's not a complete disconnect between the developers and the publishers. They are a lot more connected than we think. So, NetEase are the publishers for both China and global. So the Chinese service came out last year, whereas global is coming out just in a couple of days here on the 14th. And the dev communication so far seems to be pretty good. They recently did a global launch preview stream a few days ago where they featured a lazy peon in the entire live stream, which was really cool. They talked about when we enter the world, what can we do? They sort of glanced over a couple of things in the game, not too much detail, nothing super brand new, but they talked about a lot of the things that I covered in this video, like the things that you can do with NPCs. They are going to be giving away 6 free skins during the global launch and a bunch of other stuff. They did say during the live stream, no pay to win in the game, which, to be honest with you, a lot of players that I know who have played on China are corroborating the same thing. They said that there's no pay to win in the game. There's very minor conveniences, like from the battle pass and stuff, but the game will also feature a seasonal system that they've briefly mentioned. The first season will be called Blade, and that's what the game is going to be launching with as well, and they last about 3 months or so. The live stream itself had very very high production quality, like the studio and everything, and they had like English translation and in English subtitles on screen as well. Another bit of good news is that there is crossplay in the game, so this is mainly a PC game, but it does have a mobile client as well as PS5, but your progress can be saved across every single platform, so you can play on PC and on mobile and on your PS5 on the same account, on the same character if you want to. So there's a little bit of a nuance with linking your characters, so just make sure you're not creating a brand new character on the other platforms. Look into how to properly link the accounts, but it is possible. I'm personally going to be playing this game on Steam, and I will be streaming it at 5 p.m. Eastern when the game comes out on the 14th. So make sure you tune in. I might have some codes to give away as well. So follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/LaufieLOL. I will also be making a community guild if you want to join. I hope this video sheds some light on the game for you. It has been a little bit rushed, so I'm sorry for the lack of B-roll the entire time. I'm kind of like reading off my own script here. I can promise you I did not cover everything, and I had to cut out a lot of things from this video. Otherwise, the video would have been like 2 hours long. But if it sounds interesting to you, try it out. It's a free-to-play game. Let me know what you think. Let me know if anything stood out to you in the video. I appreciate you watching until the very end. Subscribe for more videos like this one. Follow me on Twitch, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.